The first episode of Clone Wars Season 8 was released yesterday, and I gotta say, I'm sorry. Bad Batch Episode 1 was released yesterday on Disney Plus for Star Wars Day, and in today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down my thoughts and opinions on what I think this series has in store for us. Hey AC Universe, welcome back to the Animated Apparel Company YouTube channel. I'm your resident Star Wars nerd, Grand Admiral Joey, and like the intro said, we're going to be covering all of Episode 1 of The Bad Batch. Before we get started, I just want to also mention that there's still time to take advantage of the 25% off discount going on site-wise at animatedapparelcompany.com. Make sure you swing by there and grab any of your geeky, nerdy merch. It's a site-wide discount, and your discount will be applied automatically at checkout. Now, unlike Disney's Mandalorian series, you're going to need to know some amount of Star Wars background to help you understand the plot and timeline, so I'm hoping to help explain some of those holes that aren't completely explained in the series. Starting with the very first scene, we're brought to a snowy planet where Jedi Master Deba Beliba and Padawan Caleb Dume are engaging battle droids. Now, it's not explained here, but Caleb Dume is actually Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels. This might be explained a little bit later in the series, but I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody that doesn't know. In this moment, we're only about 5 minutes away before the events of Order 66 happen. At this time in the cinematic movies, the 212th Attack Battalion led by Commander Cody are engaging General Grievous's troops on the planet of Utapau. Palpatine also just did a 360 no-scope at the Jedi that are there to arrest him, and he gives out the order to exterminate all of the Jedi. Like we saw in this episode, a switch was instantly flipped across the galaxy, and the clones are now turning on their Jedi commanders because of the inhibitor chip that was inserted to them at birth. I've got to say, the beginning of this episode really was an emotional roller coaster. It set it up like it was just, another Star Wars Clone Wars episode, and me and my boys were about to jump into battling more separatist battle droids. But in that instant that the switch was flipped, the clones that I had known to grow and love turned into fear and hate. It was incredible what one episode could do to change my mindset on the clones that were now like a stormtrooper or police force just keeping the galaxy in line, and less like soldiers. We also see this behavioral switch to more of a police force in the movies as the clones gather up the local population of Utapau, the people they were just there to liberate from the droids. And also like when Bail Organa goes to the Jedi Temple to find Master Yoda.
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.
And now a little bit about the Bad Batch themselves. The team originally consisted of Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, and Crosshair, but in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, Ekko joins the team after being rescued when he was captured and turned into a cyborg by the Separatists. The backstory of the Bad Batch isn't as important or needed to understand the events of the first episode, but I think Ekko's story is a little bit more important as he was just a regular clone in the 501st Legion. That's why his team refers to him as a reg, or regular clone, not getting genetic mutations like the other members. However, even though he is a regular clone, he's been modified so much by the Separatists that he's now more machine than man, and he isn't affected by the inhibitor chip like the other members of the Bad Batch. Well, except for Crosshair, who quickly becomes the bad guy. We also find out that Omega, the girl from the trailer, is in fact a clone that was modified like the Bad Batch, but other than just being a girl, we're not really sure what the modifications are, and it's still a mystery. Personally, I think her mutation is probably a secret that the Cameos are keeping, but right now she's just a medical assistant to Lama Su. One of the few cameos from the trailer makes his first appearance. That's Saul Guerra, the freedom fighter who's trying to stop the Emperor from keeping his power. Personally, I think this is the last we'll probably see of Saul. I don't think he'll play a major role. I think he was just there to introduce the lines that stood between the two opposing sides. Another cameo mention was Sector J19, which I had to do some research on to remember why that area was significant, but when I did, it made total sense. J19 is where Cut Lawquane is hiding. He's a deserter of the clone army. Cut was introduced in the Clone Wars after him and his new family were found by Captain Rex. Rex's military obligation was to turn Cut in for desertion, but he ended up recognizing Cut's decision to leave the military, and he left him and his family to be. Cut is a regular clone and should be affected by Order 66, but Sector J19 is way out on the ends of the galaxy in the Outer Rims, so I think this might be the way that Rex is introduced to the series. I bet he's hiding out with Cut Lawquane, and they're going to go find them and recruit him. Last but certainly not least, our speculations of Crosshair becoming the bad guy like we talked about in a previous episode ended up being true, and I think that sacrificing just one member of the team for a cool storyline is fine, and I'm actually really interested now that it leads me to believe that him and Fennec Shan might team up to hunt down the team. A lot of our questions have been answered. There's a lot we got right, and some we weren't too far off from getting right, but there's still a lot we don't know. With 15 episodes remaining, there's a lot of story to be told. But that's all for this episode. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell notification icon because I'll be covering every episode of The Bad Batch, and you won't want to miss out. Bye-bye!